The emperor, the top of everything. At the very top of Roman society was the emperor. His official title was princeps, meaning first citizen, which makes it sound like he was just the polite leader of a big club. But in reality, he controlled the army, the treasury, the courts, and the laws. Some emperors tried to act humble. Others, like Nero, Caligula, and Domitian, absolutely did not. A stable emperor meant stability in Rome. A bad emperor could plunge the empire into chaos almost overnight. The senatorial class, ancient prestige. Right below the emperor were the senators, the traditional ruling class of Rome. They belonged to old, wealthy, prestigious families, many of which claimed legendary ancestors. To be a senator, you needed a huge amount of wealth, usually from owning lots of land. Senators ran the government. They served as consuls, governors, generals, judges, and high priests. Rome expected them to be moral leaders, but they were also famous for corruption, bribery, and backroom deals. They weren't allowed to run businesses directly. That was seen as dirty work. But many quietly invested through middlemen and made even more money. The equites, Rome's business class. Below the senators were the equites, or equestrians. Their name comes from the early days when they served as Rome's cavalry because they could afford horses. But by the time of the empire, they became Rome's economic engine. They ran tax collection companies, shipping businesses, mines, factories, and construction projects. Some equites managed entire provinces on behalf of the emperor. They didn't have the political prestige of senators, but they often had more money and more freedom to use it. The plebeians, the ordinary citizens. Next were the plebeians, or plebs, the everyday citizens of Rome. This group was huge and extremely diverse. Some were poor laborers living in crowded, noisy apartment blocks called insulae. Others were skilled craftsmen, potters, bakers, carpenters, butchers, blacksmiths, and builders. There were market sellers, shop owners, barbers, teachers, and even small-scale entrepreneurs. Most Roman soldiers, especially in the early days, came from the plebs. They played a massive role in Roman politics, especially in the Republic, when they could vote in assemblies. The plebs didn't have elite family names, but they made the city function, from food to trade to defense. The freedmen, former slaves, rising in society. Below the plebs were the freedmen, former slaves who had been granted freedom. Their old masters often became their patrons, helping them find work and integrating them into Roman society. Freedmen could not become senators or hold high office, but they could run businesses, earn money, and even become wealthy. Some freedmen became incredibly important. The Emperor Claudius, for example, relied heavily on freedmen to manage the empire. They handled finances, paperwork, correspondence, the daily engine of government, and the children of freedmen were full Roman citizens, able to climb higher on the social ladder. The slaves, the base of Roman society. At the bottom were the slaves. Rome didn't rely on factories or machines. It relied on people, and many of those people were enslaved. Slaves came from everywhere. Defeated soldiers, people kidnapped by pirates, those who fell into debt, and children born to slave parents. They worked in almost every job: farming, mining, cooking, cleaning, teaching, accounting, building, rowing, and managing households. Some lived terrible lives in mines or farms. Others worked in wealthy homes and could eventually be freed, but legally, they had no rights. Citizens versus non-citizens. Another layer. Across all these classes, Rome also divided people into citizens and non-citizens. Citizens could vote, marry legally, make contracts, and appeal in court. Non-citizens often lived in the empire, but didn't have these protections. Many became citizens through military service or by living under Roman rule long enough. Social mobility. It wasn't a frozen system. Even though Roman society looked rigid, people could move between classes. A slave could be freed. A freedman's child became a full citizen. A successful plebeian merchant could join the equites. An extremely wealthy equite could be accepted into the senatorial class. Some emperors were even born outside Rome. So Rome was strict, but not completely closed. If you liked this simple explanation, subscribe for more Roman history, stick figure style. And if there's something about Rome you've always wondered about, comment it below, and it might become the next video. This is Rome Illustrated. Stay legendary.